What's going on, folks? Your boy again, Dr. Sean Thomas here, back in the building. Be More Today's show. We're still in the month of October for PT Appreciation Month, and I'm so happy to be with you for our last guest for this month. But before I go into that, Be More Today is the movement. As you already know, we are trending and growing. 63 countries, over 28,000 downloads. And it's thanks to you, your love, support, your following, your passion for being more in your own regards. So as always, if you are interested in being more on your own, my book is on Amazon and on Be More Today page, BeMoreToday.com for my book. Our More merch store is open continuously with our sweatshirts and all kinds of other gear. So go out there and rep the movement. It does not go unnoticed. And of course, for our workouts and whatever else, BeMoreToday.com is on YouTube as well. So check out Be More Today on YouTube for some running workouts and your regular 60-minute workouts. If you just want to keep moving at home, it does not go unnoticed. My quote for today is simple as always. Live your life as an exclamation rather than an explanation. Live your life as an exclamation rather than an explanation. A lot of times we, as we get older, as we get more settled in our ways, we start to talk about what we used to do, how we used to be, things we used to do or wanted to do back in the day. And we sometimes over-explain, right? Oh, I used to do this and I'm not doing it now because, and then the story just goes on and on and on. But I've been inspired as I continue to see patients progress to do other things, and as I've seen so many of my friends and family and just people in the world just go off there and just do amazing things that people said they couldn't do. Live your life as an exclamation, right? Be active, be proactive, do the things that you say you want to do and just get them done. Let's just stop talking about what we want to do, should have done, would have done, could have done, and just live that life. Because when you do that thing, we live, right? And then you're inspiring other people around you to also live and to move and to breathe and to recognize that life is a gift and that this thing about movement is a real thing. I mean, the whole thing about being a PT, as we've seen for the last 4 guests on the show, they've all showed you that they appreciate movement, each of them in their own regards, right? Moving for themselves and for others to move as well. And as we continue this PT Appreciation Month, the guest on the show today is someone who continues to help people move in his own regard, but also in their homes, which is one of the most challenging things that I think to do, because anyone can go to a gym, you can go to a clinic and move with people around you. But when it's really just you at home on your own, in an environment that's supposed to be so comfortable, it's sometimes hard to get the motivation and the strength, the courage, the drive, the will to go out there and say, you know what, let's make this space what it needs to be so we can be better, so we can make our lives exclamation as well. And my guest on the show today for our final PT for this month is Michael Kleinburd. Now, Michael Kleinburd graduated from the University of Delaware in 2003, with a Bachelor of Science in Exercise Physiology and with a minor in biology. Now, while at Delaware, he was involved with intramural sports such as soccer, baseball, bowling, and tennis. Upon graduating from U of D, Michael earned his master's and doctoral degree from SUNY Downstate Health Science Center in Brooklyn, New York. You already know, alma mater, Downstate all day. He then went on to become a clinical and regional director who has been an integral part of the Jag-One team for over 20 years. He provides innovative treatments for a wide range of physical therapy conditions with a focus on orthopedic and sports-related injuries. Over the past 2 years, he began to develop and lead our at-home physical therapy program, which continues to grow throughout the company in New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. He holds certifications as a level 1 TPI specialist, certified kinesiotape practitioner, and is an active member of the orthopedic section of the APTA. Outside of his work life, Michael loves traveling with his wife and 2 boys. And Michael also loves watching his local sports teams, the Mets, the Giants, the Rangers, and the Knicks. His other interests include playing golf and being a member of his CrossFit gym. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, pets included, please welcome to the stage our final guest for PT Appreciation Month, Dr. Michael Kleinburd. Mike, what is going on?
Sean, what's going on, my man? I almost got flustered there for a second. but it's been a while. We've been rolling through this company for a bit, and we haven't really had many face-to-face conversations. But I thank you for having me and to speak. In regards to our field. How we help individuals on an everyday basis. We've worked together probably just as long. I should say maybe how long you've been doing this for as well.
I've been with
Uh,
Jag for 10 years, 11 years. Yeah.
yeah. So from Brooklyn and Staten Island, and we've definitely, I appreciate what you've been doing. I see all your podcasts, and it's amazing how you inspire individuals to, reach their goals, reach their expectations on their everyday life, just to get back to really understanding what it's like to be positive and have good vibes to move on and enjoy life. So I thank you for having me. I'm glad to talk about home care and the physical therapy world, and also my interest in keeping active myself as we obviously get. I don't like to say age or get older, but as we progress in life, it's always good to say that. I never say to my patients, "You're getting older." Age is never a factor. It's just how well we perceive how we can handle life on an everyday basis while staying active and keeping ourselves involved in a healthy lifestyle.
Absolutely.
So,
Yep. You
so
said it right on the head. I mean, that's what it's all about. And I appreciate you as well. You and I, we worked together, but not really, right? We were in just different offices the whole time, but we had some of the people that we connected with, from Rich and Gio and Mike and whoever else, and Anthony in the center back in the day. And all these people helped to really mold us as we continue to grow from the one-on-one to Jag-One family. But I've been watching you, Mike, and I didn't realize you went to Downstate. That to me actually was a
little
sense of
nugget.
relief, because they recognize that, Downstate, we have some cool people who come out of Downstate. And
Yeah.
it just brought me a little closer to our power pathways and how they've been crossing. And, I appreciate you from all you've been doing, especially now with doing so much for the home care contingent. It's really just great to see your growth and to see that, you are one of the pillars of this company for 20 years. I mean, I've been practicing for 11 years, but 20 years is, I mean, that's real numbers. You're putting in real numbers now, Mike. So congratulations to you. And, we have very similar sports teams as well. I'm with you. I'm almost with you all the way, except for the Mets. That's where we kind of drifted off a little bit, but I'm a Yankee fan. But besides that, we're pretty
It's
much spot
okay,
on.
man. It's okay. Listen, we have to understand. I'm not I don't hate towards any professional team. My son all day, every day is trying to watch Aaron Judge hit 61, 62. So like I'm telling him watch the Mets and he wants to watch the Yankees. I have no problem with it. So it's
Yeah, it's
listen,
all
I'm not pushing him in any direction. I won't push anyone in any direction. So if he wants to watch the Yankees, I have no problem with it. I don't hate on any sports teams. I'm just enjoy a good team and my home team, and that's all that matters. So
That's it. That's it. Listen, I got a lot of stuff to talk about. I want to first just talk about you and this profession, because it seems like from your background, you pretty much knew you wanted to be in this profession from day one. Is that true or not? And if not, when did you know that you wanted to be in this profession?
so I'll take it back to when I was a kid. I obviously my whole life revolved around sports. I grew up in a sports household. My grandfather was a diehard baseball Brooklyn Dodger fan. After school, I'd be going over watching baseball games with him, and he would tell me everything about the history of the game. And as I was a child, I literally I picked up everything. It wasn't like stick to one sport and try to build on that to excel. Picked up a baseball, I threw. I picked up a football, a soccer ball, and it just grew on me. It grew on me that I was so active. I wasn't sure where I was going, but I was so active. I wanted to just be a part of competition, and be competitive. And I picked up on everything, and it made me stronger. It made me, understand the ability to have teamwork. And as I was growing up, obviously with family, you see injuries all around. And of course, your goal is to get back to your prior level, any knee injury or hip injury, or even a small little finger or foot injury. It is important that you're gaining your maximum function to be the best you can. So rehab was important. And I saw with my father, he had knee surgeries after playing ball. And, to the fact that he was able to get back to the point. But I also knew that as he was progressing in life, he was able to do those things. And I kind of saw in his footsteps that I was active and I was gaining more exposure to, adolescence and high school and college teams and sports. But I also had a passion for medicine and movement, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to be more on an orthopedic side of things, of like as an MD or a surgeon. So I kind of stuck in the middle. At first, in my high school years, I wasn't too sure if I wanted to take the extra steps in the studies of going through medical school and putting all that pressure on. I went to Delaware. I obviously had undergraduates in, the health field, the healthcare and biology, and they had a physical therapy program there. And, I volunteered there while I was in school, loved it, had all the athletes come in. It was something that I saw myself, doing in the future. I don't think I needed to be happy if I was to get through another, 8, 12 years of school and internships and clinical, medical rotations. And I found that happy medium with physical therapy in order to be active, help people, kind of like live through the life that I did growing up or seeing through my family. And, I stuck with it. I love it. I'm here 20 years, as obviously going back to the legacy days, is I worked as a volunteer in the company when I was probably 18 years old, while working a second job. So I came here, working in the physical therapy clinic back in Georgetown, the home where I was, where you are now, with Rich. And, I saw myself, I was like, I could get into this, and I grew within the company from there as a volunteer, as an aide. I came back in the summer for school, and I worked in the summertime in the physical therapy clinic, no matter where they put me. And, to this day forward, I thank every moment I had as a high schooler, coming in as a volunteer and understanding the growth path of this company and understanding what it's like to be a physical therapist. And I am here, as a clinical director now and moving to home care and and I love it. I love what I do. And you see it, you love what you do. You could see all the hard working individuals that we have, of how important it is to be a physical therapist. And I won't give it up for the world.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I appreciate your story, and it's always great seeing the full circle and, the drive that it takes going to volunteer to being, a clinician, and then a director, and then a regional, and now running this home care contingent of our program. I mean, 20 years of experience at this one company is amazing. And, I'm curious, I know you've learned a number of things from your patients, but also another thing about yourself. What's the biggest lesson you think you've learned about yourself in those 20 years, and the biggest lesson you think you've learned about our patients and how they kind of deal with the process of getting better and going through this rigorous journey of physical therapy?
It's tough at first, because when you come out of school, it's very hard to have that individualized care with the amount of patients that you see on a daily basis. So, what you need to learn about yourself, what I learned about myself, is I have to learn what I coped initially is coping with everyone's personalities, everyone's strengths and weaknesses, and how to overcome or how to educate people properly on various types of injuries in the field. Each person needs a different approach. So, I'm forced to think a little bit outside the box. It's not a cookie cutter job. It's a very, it's not book smart. It's street smart too, and you have to learn that. It's not just about educating yourself through school. You have to understand and listen to people and be able to understand their feelings, their emotions. And it's something I've learned over time that it's about patience. You're young and vibrant, and, you're a go-getter. You want to be moving fast. And sometimes people just need that little slow down pace where they get to understand, what is really going on. How are you going to heal them? What are you going to do to help them out? And I've learned that about myself, and I'm learning to adapt to everybody. I've learned over the years, and I can have a conversation with anyone now. It's, no matter who you're talking to. And at first, being a New Yorker, it's a very fast-paced environment, let's say, right? There's no slowdown. So you got to learn to adjust properly. And I think I've learned that most about myself. Being able to have good conversation, and make sure somebody is able to feel confident in your words, in your treatment, in your education to help them along the way. Our patients, they're, you see it on an everyday basis. You need to know how to communicate with them, physically, emotionally. And, it's helped me guide me as like, an excellent clinician, not just clinical wise, but it's more so on a personal level. And, I think that's really what I've learned about myself along the years. I mean, 20 years is a lot, but listen, if I do it for another 20, 30 years, I would the same way.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. What about your patients? What do you learn from them in terms of interacting with them? I mean, you've seen 10 times more patients than I have, in 10 more years of treating than me. So what's one of the things that you've learned about people in terms of their resilience, or in terms of the human will to just, get better and to see the body kind of restore itself with
so that's a good question. Everybody, like you said, with 20 years of experience, just by talking to a patient as a volunteer or as a student, or even in my first clinical years in the various settings, your initial interaction with them is going to tell you how, I feel these people are going to react to you. And by adjusting to them, you have to be able to, like I said, think outside the box a little bit, be creative with these people to understand what their goals are, right? Short-term goals, long-term goals, where you see yourself in next year, a year from now. Are you playing sports? Do you, want to get back to work? So you have to think a little bit in regards to how each patient comes to your clinic, and what their expectations are for you to help them. It's tough at first, with experience, obviously, the type of people you're dealing with, on an everyday basis. And as long as you build that trust and rapport with them, communicating well with them, they will reciprocate, with proper, positivity, with personality, with communication. So, their job is to tell you what they want to do. And our job is to help them get to where they want to be. I need to know, like, I'm going to get down and dirty. You need to know where these people want to be, within, the next year, the next 5 years, the next 10 years, like I said. So it's a battle to adjust with different personalities and different patients and understanding them. But, it's why we're here today. We've been doing this. We love our job, and, the company's growing. Our company's growing because we provide a product that we show leadership, show our base of communication with not just patients, but with, our employees too, of how well we can cope with situations and be able to help them along the way. I think our company does a great job in doing that.
Yeah, I agree. And I love seeing it too. I love seeing the progress and the resilience of our patients, no matter what, demographic we're talking about, old, young. outpatient, neuro, whatever it's going to be. It's the same thing. And we're seeing improvements. We're seeing progress. People are getting better. So we're doing a great job. And, Mike, I salute you. You and I graduated college the same year. And, I always think if I had been doing this from the jump, I didn't know I want to do this for literally like 4 years out working in a hospital. But to know what you want to do off the bat and to really get into it and to be doing it for such a long time, there's a great appreciation for that. And you've done so many things in terms of your certifications and your programs. I'm curious now, just looking at your certs, we haven't had anyone on the show who has been TPI certified before, or TPI specialist. Can you talk to the listeners about the Titleist Performance Institute specialist, what that even means, and how you use that in your treatment of patients who do participate in any kind of golf-related activities?
Sure. So TPI is a certification that is normally taken, it's, clinicians or athletic trainers or doctors who have any interest in golf. It's TPI stands for Titleist Performance Institute. It really helps, me being a golfer. It kind of helps me along the way of understanding, the biomechanical side of things. Everyone is different. Everyone who wants to be a golfer, scratch golfer, 20 handicap, 30 handicap. If you shoot over 100, if you know what that means, I don't know if you're out there pitching, putting and stuff, but everyone is different. And, the purpose of the TPI was to kind of understand myself. Like, what am I doing wrong? Where do I see any flaws or abnormalities in, say, my golf swing, or, strength or weaknesses that may require me to, work on certain muscles that are needed for a stronger golf swing or hitting the ball further. And it helps everyone, everyone who is a golfer in any sort of life. No one, like I said, no one is the same. As long as you are doing everything exactly the same every time you hit the ball, that makes you a better golfer. So, you can have the wackiest swing, but you could still be a scratch golfer. So it has nothing to do with, making sure you're perfect of a golf swing. It's making sure you see where your weaknesses are, where your strengths are, and really breaking it down from every phase of a golf swing to know what you need to focus on as an individual. And, we go through upper body, lower body, trunk, and it actually has very similar components to FMS. Which I believe you have certification as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a functional movement screening. It's really how well you're using your muscles to make sure you're maximizing your function while playing golf. And it's not the biggest components in my job. I know it's not, golf isn't for everybody, but people find that niche of that they like. I'm moving into my 20 years. I'm not even my age, but but listen, I can't do the things that I was doing when I was 25, and I just know it. So I pick up on golf, and I love golf. I find a lot of networking and good times, and it's more relaxing for me to do it. And a lot more people are doing that as they get older, as they progress in life. So, people come to me all the time, and I tell them, listen, I talk to them, they play golf, and, why not? If they're coming in for a knee injury, even just go over a quick screen. Hey, let's check your core strength. Let's check your hip strength. Let's check your overall thoracic mobility. If you want to play back, it's not about just focusing on the one thing. Everything works up the kinetic chain. That's how we learn, right? It may not be from, if you have a knee injury, maybe something's affecting your hip or your core or your low back. So it is something that we focus on as TPI to do more of a screen to work with anyone who is interested in golf or wants to improve their golf game. I find enjoyment in it, as anyone does. I mean, there's more certifications to take on a medical basis, a medical platform. I further look to progress to do level 2, level 3, I believe, in the future. So like I said, it's not used on an everyday basis, but it's definitely something I like to keep in the repertoire to kind of like make sure I bring it to people's attention. You know what? People like it. They love it when they see different exercises that work in their golf game. Let's just say they like that stuff.
Yeah.
We got to keep, again, it's being creative. It's being thinking out of the box, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I just recently got into pitch and putt, and, I said after I run my 5th marathon, I'm going to stop and just play golf. And I'm not gonna lie to you, Mike. I'm 41. I need to stop running, but these marathons keep calling my name. And at some point in time, I will be with you on the golf course.
It's okay, man.
I'm not ready yet.
Listen, golf, like I said, golf, you need patience because it could easily go downhill very quickly. I've seen it happen when in my younger days of, friends not hitting the ball the right way and throwing a club and getting very angry. It's a frustrating game. You just need to know, that patience is the key to success here. So
I got you. Maybe sometime next year I'll be joining you. So we'll see what happens.
Absolutely.
Listen, you've been doing a lot of stuff with the home care or the at-home PT department at Jag-One. And I'm curious, when we went through COVID, it was very, very imperative that we had this thing, and it was very, very useful. And I wanted you to just talk a little bit about the program, how it began, how you became involved with it, and, how it's doing right now for those who are listening and interested in the at-home PT program we have here for Jag-One.
Yeah. So obviously, the pandemic, it was brutal on a lot of, outpatient facilities. You saw Jag-One. We kind of stuck through it. We held on to most of our clinicians, well, actually pretty much all of our clinicians. And we had to go through telehealth, and, we were doing that company wide. And, when the pandemic, obviously, started to, simmer down a little bit, that we needed a new way to kind of make sure people were getting the treatment they need. And, we were discussing and we launched home care in, I believe, the early to middle part of 2020. And, we've been going strong. Obviously it was through New York and New Jersey at the time. And, where I am now in Staten Island, there seemed to be a more influx of patients wanting to do home care. We were getting a lot of phone calls, and it was directly run through our location as a central hub of Staten Island. And, we kind of pitched it. We was like, let's see where this goes. It's something that people are home. They're, unfortunately, at the time, it was, these people didn't want to leave their houses. They had a fear of going out. They had a fear of getting sick. So how are we supposed to overcome as a company and get people back in the clinic or even doing telehealth? So we had to find ways to kind of get our patients back, and our patients know our name. Everywhere, we're everywhere in New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. And, we did the marketing, we started it out, and every region had a therapist that was, I believe, part of the company who was doing their office hours as well, but also did some home care. And we had a home care therapist who was in my office as well. And she was excellent. She loved it. It grew, to see, almost to a point of 5 days a week. And to that point, we were like, let's run with the program in Staten Island, where I am now. And, since that time, we've grown, triple, quadruple, even, 5 times fold of the amount of patients that we've seen. just off of that. And, there's a niche, I think, in terms of doing home PT, at home PT. People need to understand like we do in the clinic. I mean, there's more independence there, but people still need to be independent in the home. And, people are very, I don't want to say lackadaisical, but they tend to not want to get up and do things as much anymore. And, it's sad on their terms, but we also have to help those people to kind of promote them to be active. And we came to this point where, we now have more clinicians doing home care as a full-time job. We're continuing to grow the program, not just, post-COVID related conditions, because that's where it was initially, where, COVID took, a toll on us, with cardiovascularly, emotionally. So people didn't really, they were losing strength and to be able to do things. And that's not what you want to hear. So we have to come in and really be the forefront to kind of tell people, listen, you got to get up. We got to do things. We have to exercise. We have to, maintain your well-being. And like I said, we rolled with it. We went with it. Staten Island now is running a very, good sized program as we're continuing to expand. In New Jersey, I think they're looking for, clinicians as well. So like, we're really building this program up. Marketing now is going to be really big as we build the program to not just orthopedic conditions, but, neurologic conditions and just any internal pathologies that is resulting in just overall weakness and functional limitations. We are helping everyone. That's our job. That's what keeps us afloat every day. It makes us like our job and helping people back and doing more. So the home PT program, really took off this year, and we're really trying to promote it more. And I think it's something that's going to stick for a good amount of time. And we're going to, continue to improve. We're going to continue to grow. And, it's obviously it's someone they need to lead a program. But it's something that I've learned, it's that not just in the clinic, but it's also some various aspect of running a business. It's technically not just being a director of an office. It's learning how to run almost like a separate division of not being in an office. So you have to learn a lot of things with it. Insurance, reasoning, which insurances we're going to take, and I kind of like feel that's a good thing in my, like, I want to know more, and everyone wants to know more. If they're a go-getter, they're a pusher, they want to achieve certain things. So I want to know all these things that's happening with this program. And I'm glad that I'm taking something on, hopefully be a bigger role with the program to, and see that we're, doing more, we're expanding more than just being in our clinics.
Yeah, I think it's great. And, I remember when the program was launched, I was happy to hear it. As someone who's done home care in the past for other places, I always inquire, why didn't we just do our own thing? And now that we're doing it, I'm just super happy to hear about it. And as someone who's been in the home care environment, and I have friends who also run their own home care agencies, I know that home care can be hit and miss, right? Sometimes you get great therapists who provide great quality service to patients at home. And sometimes people walk in there and they walk out, and patients are like, what just happened? Like, what did we just do? We didn't do anything. And that's a constant complaint that I hear from people who do get home care, that the therapist can be hit or miss. It can be a great therapist that they love and adore and they cherish, or it can be someone who literally just walks in there, they bill whatever, they didn't learn anything while they were there, and they walk out being like, oh, what's going on? So I'm curious, just in your experience and looking at the program so much, many have had poor experiences, but Jag-One's program seems to be different. What makes Jag-One's program different from others?
So, I kind of fall on the same path of doing home care as well. when I was living in New York. And, I kind of understand, coming from, the home care experience when I was in the past, and understanding and listening to people, and just making a connection with somebody new is always a great thing. Like, I feel like you always learn something new about somebody, and it always kind of like sparks you to, hey, where can I go with this? Right. So it's thinking, it's the internal mind thinking. And, and with our program, and like kind of told our clinicians along the way, I'm like, listen, you're here, talk to the patient, like see what their goals are, like see how they can help. What are they here to help you with? Hopefully positive, responses, but, everyone I've put through into the at-home PT program, so far in the Staten Island region has actually been one of our clinical, clinicians, one of our clinicians in the office. So they see on an everyday basis, and they know how to interact with a lot of these individuals. And, the one thing I make sure when I look at the clinicians that we're looking to bring into our program is to make sure they have good communication skills. Be able to speak to a patient at their level, be able to have the exposure and the experience to, once again, be creative, think out of the box to help them, get up from the couch, or, have a good conversation with them. Sometimes that's all they need. They need something to just get them up, someone to give them, because you never know. You're going to walk into someone who, maybe in their 50s, or someone who's in their 90s, and they haven't got up from the couch. They don't see anyone for days. Just having someone come in and speak to them and have that pleasant feeling of knowing somebody is here to help and to even be with you for, an hour's time. Listen, exercise is important. What are we going to do? We need to make sure that you're doing something to benefit yourself, because better. You're not going to want to be, sitting on a couch or sitting in your house for the rest of your life. These people need to understand, this the sun's shining, you got to be positive. You got to enjoy life. And, it's always good. Exercise is a great endorphin, right? It's one of the best things for stress relief. And I tell them to everybody, you need to get up, breathe, meditate, exercise. And I tell this to even the clinicians that do at home, just something like that to make them feel different. And, since the program has grown in Staten Island, I really haven't had, any negative experiences with the clinicians coming into the home. They're extremely happy with, getting a patient off the couch, getting him out of the house, going up and down a few steps here and there. I understand it's some of it may be a little bit of a, it's not as high level function, but it's still something to benefit their individual needs. And I think most of the clinicians understand that. And, on a logistics side, obviously it's a little different where we're, through our company, going through, say, Medicare Part B or versus Medicare Part A, we're allowed to provide a little bit more care under the Medicare plan that we provide as an outpatient, practice. Where I think maybe some other, I don't want to quote the saying that I'm right or wrong, but some, Medicare Part A is a bundle package, and, they're limited with the amount of physical therapy that they can receive, coming from another agency or something like that. So we're able to spend a little more time with them as long as we are able to see where their limitations are, see what their goals are, and we documenting and making sure that they are able to achieve something. We're able to build that relationship with them over time, and they build that trust and confidence in us to do that. I think that's where we sit a little differently, where someone in another, doing at home, elsewhere, they may see them for only a couple of weeks. They're in and out, and they didn't do much, or, they didn't provide me with a home exercise program. Those little things are so key to make your experience at home better. to make them say, hey, you know what, this may work. This may actually be good for us, may be good for them. But the little things that, other people may not want to do, we're making sure we're doing it. So they understand that we're here, we care what we're doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's.
Yeah, that's huge, Mike. And I think that's what makes the difference. I mean, case in point, I've had that same experience, and some people just want to just want to talk. They just want to talk and do
Yeah.
whatever while you're there. And it makes a big difference though, when someone's there to help you do that and also just to talk to you. Because again, our job is more than just showing exercises. It is that connection. It is that personal touch. It is that one-on-one. It is that sharing. I mean, that we're therapists in there for a reason. We do connect with people and they do share with us so many things. And the more you see someone, the more they end up sharing with you. So
you can write a million best-selling novels with every patient that you see, because you'll know everything about them, their families, their whatever they're from, they and listen, you get a good meal out of it once in a while.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true. That's true. So I appreciate that Jag-One at home program is thriving like that. And I hope others will continue to do the same, because it is a big deal. And I get a little frustrated when I hear that, there are therapists out there who are not doing their jobs the right way, that are taking advantage of that service and giving a disservice really to our patients and people in their communities when someone walks in and just kind of checks in, checks out, and the person who has at home is not getting the benefit of our expertise, our knowledge, that quality time, etc. So I'm glad we're doing it the right way. And I'm curious, I spoke, and you actually, and I talked about this, I spoke at an online symposium for fall risk. I do it every year with Rob Curran, who was a professor at Downstate. I don't know if he was your teacher for any class that were there, but he was a pathology teacher at the time. And he does a symposium every single year on fall risk and prevention. And he invites all these different presenters to talk about their expertise when it comes to this population of people who receive home care at home. And I spoke on a presentation last month just about how, exercise is great. It's fantastic for us to go out and do things, but there is a contingent that needs to be able to give still funding to people who need to have programs and outsourcing and opportunities for people just to be involved and be engaged. And when you have people at home doing things, it's one thing, but when you leave, right? Or when I leave, or whoever leaves, that person might not do those things anymore because the motivation is not as high. And, when you don't have the social constructs of the thing that you would have, when you're in your 40s and 50s, as you get older, it's hard to kind of get the motivation to go out there and do anything. So I was just sharing with them that, cutting programs like silver sneakers and all those other things are tough for people who are in this demographic, and Medicare cuts are making it even tougher when it comes to us being able to provide our services to this population. So I was curious, sir, looking at Medicare and the way that and reimbursements continue to get cut year after year and are declining, what are your thoughts on injury prevention programs, fall risk programs, and their efficacy to help reduce the number of people who are 60, 65, 70, who are battling chronic pain, chronic illnesses, chronic injuries, when it comes to strength, balance, and people who are even receiving home care? How those programs are so being truncated when it comes to us providing services in the home setting.
Yeah, so I know in the past years we've been dealing with this issue of course, Medicare cuts and reimbursement rates. And it's unfortunate that, we have to, continue to hear about it. Obviously, and I think I know as well, and our company, administrative team and executive teams have, they're lobbying, they're doing everything they can to make sure that everyone understands, like these people need treatment. It's, as you progress, I'm almost there again. As you progress in life, like you got to realize your body is going to take a toll. It's nothing that's going to get, back up on your feet and start running like within a day or two. It's never going to happen. And it's just, down the line, it's just like, you need more time for that. And, so in order for us to be able to, provide the care, obviously with, they need to see the light, where it's important that not just with exercise or fall prevention or risk or, any type of, injury prevention, but we have to, kind of go over everything with them, not even just from even just a level of, what we do on an everyday basis, like therapeutic activity or exercises or gait training. But we need to, work a little bit differently with these patients. And unfortunately, if they do tend to make Medicare cuts, we still have to provide the care. But we're doing everything we can to lobby to make sure that doesn't happen. But in the meantime, if things like this happen, we have to educate. We're educators to the adolescents, to the the geriatric population, and we have to teach in the home what we need to tell, or to even kind of help them along the way to understand an activity modification or a living situation modification to prevent these issues, injury prevention, fall prevention, even involve family members, because that's important too. You got to exercise with proper supervision at home, like you said, or even in the gym, or even, in these senior centers. Like I actually, like you said, you do a symposium. I actually have one coming up this week where I do one, I do 2 or 3 a year, actually, at a senior center in Staten Island. And, we're part of their senior day, and not just for marketing or anything like that, but like, these people have questions. They have all day, like, what am I going to do? Like, what do I need to do to like work on my legs? And I'm glad that they come to me for this. And that's what we need to educate more. Listen, there's no harm in asking, you need to understand what you're doing. And these are the types of people that know that they want to do something more, and to get back to doing more, not just obviously being at home. So I'm glad that I do these things, because it is people that are home, but they also make it out into their centers to make sure they're aware of their surroundings, or have a good environment, or be positive, or exercise, or anything to make them just overall feel better. Again, it's unfortunate what happens with Medicare, and if hopefully things don't, the cuts don't affect us as much, but I'm still going to provide care to everybody the same way I would always do. Educating more is important, it helps. I mean, building like that relationship, even just to kind of get them to understand like even just to go into a home and just kind of help them look around, see what needs to be changed, because we're the people who know the best of what needs to change. What do you need to do in your home to prevent, the worst case scenario, let's say. So, we provide with this senior center, say this senior center day, or, we do fall prevention, PowerPoint presentations, the individuals need to, I guess, in terms of, would you say fall prevention, get off the fear of falling, right? Because everyone's going to be, they're going to, if something happens in their home, they're going to, God forbid something does happen, it's going to be a setback for them. So they need to understand those things, and they have to build confidence, and you have to start from, little baby steps, and then go from there, and people enjoy that. And, if it can be off the Medicare scale, then if it has to be, then, people have to understand that too. But we're obviously trying our best to provide the most care, no matter what reimbursement rates are. We'll see how things go this week. I mean, hopefully, it's helping the communities out there. That's what I'm here to do, and that's why we're doing it.
Absolutely, Mike. And I appreciate all of that, because it just lets me recognize and remember that what we're doing is a bigger picture thing, and we're all in this together. The healthcare spectrum, right? From the PTs to PTAs to ATCs to OTs and MDs, all the letters and acronyms, right? We're all trying to make people feel better. And if we can just continue to hold down our part of the fort, and educate anywhere we can, from senior centers to home care centers to our regular clinics, then we're doing a good job. And that's why I wanted to have you on the show, Mike, because you get it. You know what being more really is about. And I've asked all the guests on this show so far, over 100, what Be More Today means to them. So, Michael Kleinburd, when you hear the phrase "Be More Today," what does that phrase mean to you?
So I had to think about this a little bit. You know, what is Be More Today? And you and I both know, you know, as once again, as we move on through life, nothing gets easier, right? You got kids, got a job, you know, you have those expenses. You want to live a good life, right? You want to enjoy the finer things in life, right? So what do you have to do, right? You have to be innovative. You have to be creative. You have to set goals for yourself. But in order to do that, you need to take risk, right? You know, in order to be better, you know, you needed to take the extra steps, you know, to make sure that you can get to that point. You know, you're not going to progress. I feel like you're not going to progress if you're always on a safe side. So, you know, you have to take that leap of faith to make sure you're able to get to the point. So being more, right? Being more today, right? Doing more, you know, setting your expectations and reaching that goal, whether it's, you know, listen, a week, a month, 6 months, a year, you know, Rome wasn't built in a day. So, you know, it's not an easy path to take, but you still have to, you know, you have to find those peaks and valleys and those struggles along the way to kind of understand how to be better. And like you said, be more today. And, you know, what I kind of learned through the company, I think you've learned also, you know, I've noticed that building the relationship I have with the company, you know, you kind of learn by asking questions. You know, you're really not, well, I should say you're not mentored, but you are mentored now. But, you know, when we grow up, you know, we're scared. You know, we don't have that perception of knowing what's next in life, right? So, you know, that's where the street smarts comes into play, where, you know, you got to ask questions and you got to know what's the next step. What can I do to better myself? What can I do to, you know, take the next step in this company or this profession, or to be a scratch golfer, you know, like anything that it is. And, you know, it starts from there. You know, you just need to be proactive. You know, you can't sit on the sideline. You got to be there, take risk. You know, you'll see the negative side of things, but in the long term, I think everyone needs to understand that there's always going to be positivity at the end of the tunnel, you know, and being more, you know, today by doing more, taking that risk can possibly get you there. I would say will get you there, but you have to put your mind to it.
I love it, Mike. I love it, Mike. Mike, last question, and I appreciate all you've done for us for this show. As a CrossFitter and as a therapist, there's a lot of talk about the pros and cons of CrossFit, rhabdomyolysis, and all kinds of other crazy things. In 60 seconds, what are your thoughts on CrossFit? Pro, con? You do it. It's part of your life. What are your thoughts?
It's all here. It's all here. It's a mental game, man. I love doing it. I do it a couple times a week. It's my place. It's my safe haven to clear my mind, to push myself through adversity and to be mentally strong. It's not easy. And you know what? Anyone can do it. You could scale any type of activity to your liking, but I feel like I'm back to my youth again, being competitive with everyone there. And no, it's not a cult. I don't want to think it's a cult. People think it's a cult, but it's somewhere you can go where you have friends, you have a positive environment, people push you to your limits and you succeed. And you know what? It gets me through my day. It gets me through my week. It gets me through my year. I love doing it. I recommend it. It's not for everyone, but it's worth a try, right? Doesn't have to be. any at-home workout could be a CrossFit workout. So
there it is, folks. He has disguised all the myths. Now you can't say anything about it. Go out there and try CrossFit if you haven't done that. And Mike Kleinburd, thank you so much for being on the show. You're closing out our PT Appreciation Month. You are the finale. I appreciate you and all you've done for the company in the last 20 years. And I'm excited to see what's up for you. What's next for Mike Kleinburd? What's coming up for this year or next month or in the future? What are your big plans for you, if there are any?
I don't know. It's a tough question, man. It's a tough question. Listen, I'm here obviously with this program. Obviously I want to see it grow, and the projection of it looks like it will. So within the company, within Jag-One, I'm looking to build on it, market it, get help with my peers, to see like this extra, this little niche that the company is starting to build on, not just being a provider of outpatient PT or an athletic training and, OTs, so it's something that it'll give me the drive. I'm all about it. I'm all about the task at hand. I'm always, I don't want to sit on the sideline as much. I want to have my hands in everything. So, and over time, I think, what best I think I've learned and I want to improve with, not just be a clinical director, but also to have more of the background of operations and understanding how a business runs. And I've learned that along the way. And, I'm thankful for all the opportunities that Jag-One has given me. It's definitely, it's hardworking. No one's ever said it was easy, but you have to be a hardworking individual to achieve your goals. And 5-10 years down the line from now, I'd be loving doing the same thing. Who knows? Have a fancy car, have a retirement home in a lovely tropical island. But those are the goals. Listen, you have to reach for them and you have to work hard to achieve those. And, I'll reveal my age. I'm 41. I don't feel a day over 30, man. So as long as I could do this for as long as I can, I'm going to continue to provide care. I'm going to continue to be a clinician. I'm going to continue to be involved. And so, yeah, that's my trajectory and my path. So we'll see. I'm sure I'll stumble across some more expectations and goals, but you got to think life is life. Like you said, I think you said once, life is short. So you got to really enjoy the good times and think for the future and really be positive on reaching an expectation or the things that you want to enjoy in life. So.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well said. Well said. 41s all day. Let's get it. Mike, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate you, man. And I look forward to seeing you in person sometime soon.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for the time, Sean. And thank you for having me on here and look forward to doing more with you.
Yes, sir. And folks, remember all the words he said. He talked about so many things, his journey, his drive, his passion for giving back to people. It's legit, right? Physical therapy is that thing. We connect, we help people, we help people in a variety of ways. And the great therapists who you've heard on the show for the last month are all people that we thought were rock stars, people who go out there and they really take this thing seriously. It's not just a job for them, it's a way of life. So take the tidbits, the nuggets you learned from this month from us. Appreciate us because we're out there. We're doing great things for our community. And just thank you so much for joining us for this PT Appreciation Month. And folks, the quote from today is real. Live your life as an exclamation rather than an explanation. Mike said it best. There's so many things he wants to do still. He's done so many things, but wants to do so many things still. He wants to make that an exclamation. Go out there and put your stamp on this world. And if you're a patient out there, continue to keep striving, whether you're doing home care or in the clinic, wherever you are, you too will get through this like everyone else has gotten through it as well. Just keep pushing, keep striving, and you too will be the best version of you. Folks, as I always say, follow us on BeMoreToday.com for our swag store, our book, the podcast heard on all major podcast platforms. If you want to send us a question or send me a question about Mike or anything else, email me directly at drshawn@BeMoreToday.com or any social media platform as well, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. As I always say, have a good day, Have a good night. Have a great life, and continue to take your steps to greatness to be the best version of you. We'll see you next week. Peace.